Alright, how's it going? I'm that ginger photographer. This video is going to be a really quick video today, and it's going to be all about the Canon R6 and exposure simulation. Now this channel's actually about running a photography business. This channel isn't dedicated to the Canon R6. I know a lot of you might be thinking that lately, but I do cover a whole range of running a photography business stuff. Tips, things. So this video is coming off the back of my last video where I talked about how completely wrong I was and how I pretty much begged for forgiveness for slagging it off in the first place. I did say at the end of that video that I only had one problem with it, and that was if I was photographing a dance floor or a dark scene and I was exposing for my flashes rather than exposing for an in-camera picture, the viewfinder was too dark in that scenario and it was struggling to get focus on people dancing, whatever it was, until the flash lit. And that was the only time I was struggling to get the Canon R6 to actually focus, because the image was underexposed because the flash is what was lighting up the scene. So the viewfinder was too dark. But basically a lot of you said go into the menu, try turning off exposure simulation, which is essentially you're using it like an old school DSLR. You're putting your manual settings in, taking a picture, hoping that it's right. There is no simulation of the image inside the viewfinder, and that worked absolutely perfectly. I got to try it out at a recent wedding and also at a recent job, and I just want to say a massive thank you to those people that commented. You know who you are if you're still watching. Maybe you just come on, commented and left. I'll never see you again, but thank you anyway. So what I found with this was I put in my manual settings, turned off the exposure simulation, tried to focus on a scene, and the viewfinder was nice and bright. Because it wasn't simulating your settings, it was just going nice and bright, finding focus easily. The flashes were firing. I'd look at my picture and it was in focus and it was nicely lit. It took a while to get the settings right, but that's exactly the same as it would do with the DSLR. You had to get your settings right and then you were away for the rest of the night. So what's the point in this video? Great question, guys. This wasn't just a thank you video. What I wanted to do with this video was also clarify that the Canon R6 is amazing at focusing, even in a dimly lit room, on a dark dance floor, on a dark starry night outside. It's amazing at focusing. If you're not underexposing because you're going to be using external flash, then the Canon R6 is absolutely fine. If you're exposing that scene as it's meant to be, as you want it to be in camera, with no external lighting, the focusing is absolutely fine. So these images that I'm putting up here, these were taken at a recent wedding. These were taken just with the Canon R6 and the natural light that was available. So there was DJ lights in there, there was lights on the side of the building coming down, and those were the only lights I had available. And as you can see, the Canon R6 focused absolutely fine, as dark as it was, and it was really dark, and those lights were flashing, so it wasn't just a constant red light on that person's face, or it wasn't just a constant blue light in the image. These lights were constantly flashing. Canon R6 nailed focus about 90% of the time. So as long as you're exposing your picture properly, don't worry about the R6 focusing, whether it's going to do it or not. You can leave exposure simulation on in this scenario, which is exactly what I did. I had exposure simulation enabled. I exposed my picture properly for the lights that were on so that the people were lit in the image, they weren't underexposed. And as you can see, the Canon R6 nailed the focusing. The only time I had a problem was when I was underexposing the image, ready for my flashes to light up the image, because they were external flashes being fired from a trigger. As soon as I disabled exposure simulation, that problem's been solved as well. And I can gladly say that the R6 is amazing now and I have no problems with it, and I would gladly get 2 of them and sell my 5D Mark IV. So next week's video is going to be all about Godox and triggers and how I use these. I've got 3 of these now. I use these on dance floors and I use these for commercial photography jobs. They've completely upped my photography game. Can't rate these highly enough. I absolutely love them. So if you're interested in external flash, off-camera flash, or just flashes in general, or Godox in general, make sure you hit that subscribe and that like button, and I'll see you next week. I love you. Bye.